The Browns Blitz is brought to you by BigPlay.com. Now here are your hosts, Rod Bloom and Sam Maddie.
And welcome to another episode of the Browns Blitz. We have been on hiatus due to the summer, work, and whatever else other excuse that Rod and I can come up with. Today is July 10th, 2019. We are on episode 15. And we're going to break down the Browns' upcoming games for you this year and see what our wins-loss record is going to be for our upcoming Browns this year. Rod, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great, Sam. How are you doing?
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
I mean, we've still been in contact, but we just haven't been doing the podcast. But we've had a lot going on with with Big Play. We've got a big weekend ahead of us. We will be heading to Cleveland, actually together. We will be going to the Indians-Twins game this Saturday night for our first Big Play get-together. We've got about roughly 40 people that will be attending from Cleveland people, and then some people that are actually going to be coming in from out of town to meet up and get together and hang out and hopefully go out afterwards. So it'll be a good time, good weekend.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, we get to talk to a lot of these guys and people and writers and editors and everything, but we haven't met most of them, so it's going to be a lot of fun just getting together, kind of hanging out and kind of getting face to face with some of these people.
So what's been going on? Anything big going on in your life? I know you've been busy with work, as have I, but is there anything else that's kind of stood out to you besides this stupid heat wave that we're under? And then also, we've been getting torrential rain downpours every day for the last month.
It just kind of feels like we really haven't had a summer, and we're already almost halfway through July. It's either been almost 100 degrees out or it's been raining. Yeah, I just kind of feel like I'm behind the eight ball and everything between work being busy and trying to catch up on everything else and the weather. So, yeah, I mean, just kind of trying to live life and just trying to enjoy myself. But yeah, it's been just very busy and a little frustrating with the weather this year.
You've taken a couple vacations, nothing crazy though, but
yeah, we got to Chicago for we went to the Rolling Stones concert. We took kind of a long weekend, Sunday through Tuesday, I think, and
cool.
Or came back Wednesday, and we went to Nashville, Indiana for our wedding anniversary. Kind of long weekend there. So yeah, we've had a couple getaways. That was nice.
Good stuff. Well, a brand new segment for us at the Browns Blitz. We're going to start calling it the Blitz Beverage. We're going to talk about what we will be drinking during the duration of our show. As a lot of you know, I'm a big bourbon guy. I am drinking some form of bourbon this evening. I'll share that here in a bit. But, Rod, let's start off and hear about your blitzed beverage for the evening.
Sam, I'm drinking we're going to go with Deschutes Pacific Wonderland Lager.
Deschutes? It's Deschutes.
Deschutes? Yeah. See, I don't know. Deschutes. Okay, we'll say Deschutes. I knew I was going to say it wrong no matter what we agreed on ahead of time.
How many have you had?
I have had about a third of a beer at this point.
Oh, man. All right.
And it is 5.5% alcohol, and it kind of tastes like a beer. I mean, it's not bad. I don't mind it. I probably wouldn't go out of my way to buy it just because it's nothing spectacular. But if you like just an easy drinking beer, it's not bad. Not bad at all.
All right. You heard it first, everyone. Deschutes.
Yeah, I can't say that I've had too many beers from this brewery before, so gotcha. Maybe that's why I've left it sit in my refrigerator for a little longer than I thought, because maybe I just wasn't sure how to say the name of it.
It's about time it starts getting some love.
That's right.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. Here I am bitching about the heat, but yet tonight I'm drinking coffee with some Buffalo Trace bourbon cream. I don't know why. It just sounded good, and it tastes great, and it's going down smooth. So Buffalo Trace bourbon cream, it's kind of like your Bailey's Irish cream, except it's bourbon. And, well, I guess Irish cream is Irish whiskey, so I guess I'm going to get slammed for that. But whiskey and bourbon are completely two different things. And if you would like to have the argument with me, you can come find me at TheSamMad on Twitter. Anyway, let's jump right in. Rod, what are we going to be talking about?
Well, we're going to take a very early run through the Browns schedule. Just kind of looking at very early predictions for wins and losses, kind of looking at how some of these games set up for the Browns, and just kind of comparing notes on what we think the Browns may end up with record-wise. Of course, we're nowhere near deciding on a 53-man roster yet, so everybody needs to know this is just kind of all in fun right now. But that's what we're going to take a look at.
Cool. I'm sure we'll make some people mad, so
yeah, we might.
That's always a good time to have those arguments, but it creates conversation, so I'm all about it. And I love talking Browns football. So, do we want to do preseason stuff? There's a couple games that kind of stand out to me, and we can discuss those, but it's up to you.
We can talk about them real quick. I don't know that the wins and losses mean much, but we can talk about the games real fast.
I guess let's not talk really much about the wins and losses. Let's just kind of talk about ones that will be impactful, important, good practice, what it does to our team moving forward. So if you want to start out, we play the Redskins at Cleveland on August 8th. So what's your take on that? What are you hoping to see from that game?
I think you're going to see a lot of fans just having a blast that have just been waiting to see football for so long and been waiting to see this Browns team finally take the field. Even though they're not going to see the starters for very long in that game, I don't think. But I think it's going to be just one big party, in Cleveland. The outcome probably doesn't matter. I think you're going to see. First game, I don't know. What we see the starters for the first and third quarter typically.
Yeah, we might see him for 2 series, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's not going to be a lot in that game. So it's going to be a lot of fun seeing the Browns, air quotes, but it's going to be a lot of the guys who may not be around once the cuts are made.
Right. I agree with you, man. The energy that's going to be coming off last year, and then with, a completely, made over roster, so to speak, with with our new head coach, Freddie Kitchens, the energy is going to be high, and, what a better place for it to be a home game. So
that's right.
Next, we've got the Browns at Colts on the 17th of August, and I think that's a really, really important game just to kind of see where we're at again. I know our starters won't be playing as much as people would hope, and for good reasons. We want to avoid injuries as much as possible. But the Colts, I really feel like are going to be major playoff contenders this year, and with the amazing defense that they have, and all their offensive weapons, and with Andrew Luck, being able to avoid injury last year for the most part, and to be able to come back and hopefully get in a full season without injury, I just think that the Colts are. Gosh, they are definitely a team that is going to be in the playoff run. So that's great competition for us, and hopefully we come out strong. So,
yeah, I agree with you. That's it's going to be a fun little measuring stick to see kind of where the Browns are. Browns starters against Colts starters, both sides of the ball. And with that game being in Indy, I'm thinking that I don't know how hard it'd be to get tickets for that game, but I don't know. I think that's something we should check into.
I'll look into that. I will absolutely look into that for us. That would be fun. Something we could talk about. So, yeah. Hey, next we've got the Browns at Tampa on August 23rd. What's your thoughts about them going down and facing new head coach Bruce Arians?
Well, it's an interesting storyline. I know a lot of fans really wanted Bruce Arians before we even really gave serious consideration to Freddie Kitchens being a head coach. So. There's a little bit of a storyline there, but week 3, seeing the starters play a lot more than you see them in any of the other games. I think it's probably the game that the Browns fans will probably want to pay the most attention to, because it's going to kind of show maybe where the offense and defense are heading into the season. But again, as far as the actual win-loss, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think it'll be good for conditioning as well. Being down there, most likely one of the last game that some players will see. And playing in Tampa, being hot down there, most of the first stringers will play more than the first or second games. So I think it'll be a good test of conditioning to see where they are, how well a shape they're in, and so that should be exciting. Next, we've got, this is the last one too. I could care less about this game. We've got the Lions at Cleveland on the 29th of August. What's your thoughts there?
Nice way for some fans to get some. Might be the easiest ticket to get to a Browns game this year.
Yeah, most likely. I don't think we'll hardly see any starters in there, neither on the Lions side as well. So this will kind of be that last chance to kind of make that 53.
Yeah,
so a lot of good competition for sure. But all right, well, I don't think we should give preseason record because it doesn't really matter. So let's jump right into the regular season. Our first game is against Tennessee at Cleveland on September 8th, Sunday. What do you got?
I've got a win for the Browns. Starting off at home, get the Titans. The Titans, I still don't think anybody really knows what the Titans are.
Right.
So, I think this is going to be a win.
I'm going to agree with you there. I think it'll be a win as well, and just strictly because I don't think Tennessee even knows which Marcus Mariota is going to come out. If Marcus Mariota was at his, if he was complete, if he had been what we all expected him to be, I would maybe be worried because they've got some offensive weapons. They've got a good coach in Mike Vrabel, and their defense is pretty good. So. And being the first game of the year, kind of shaky, coming off, not really knowing, trying to, get everybody on the same page. So I could see that potentially being a loss, but I think that we'll definitely take that win, especially being at home. And then, Marcus Mariota seems like the type, has been in the past at least, you put some pressure on him, he just kind of falls apart. And I definitely expect our defense to be, really hyped up for that first home game.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's one win for me and one win for Rod. Next, we've got the Browns at New York Jets on a Monday night game. Rod, I'll let you take this one.
I went back and forth on this game just because I feel like the Browns may have a letdown somewhere early with the primetime games, but for me, I was trying to do a little research on the Jets, and I know some of the pieces they've added, but when I pulled up and looked at one of the Jets sports writers doing his prognostications for the season, and he had the Jets beating the Browns and kind of comparing Darnold and saying that, Baker, he didn't think Baker would come as far as what people think. And that's kind of what made me say that I don't see the Browns losing this game. So I went from thinking that this could be a loss to being pretty confident that this is going to be a win on a Monday night for the Browns.
The pressure's definitely there being a Monday night, the magnifying glass, and we're definitely in the spotlight, the Browns are, and we'll just have to see how they, deal with the pressure. The Jets had a good offseason, bringing in C.J. Mosley and Le'Veon Bell and some other big names like that. Mm-hmm. I personally don't think Le'Veon Bell is going to have the production that he has had, especially that he did in Pittsburgh. So he took off a whole year, You take off a whole year of football. I don't really expect you to come back when you left. He should be somewhat fresh, but at the same time, you're going to be rusty too. So he put on some weight during that year, and we'll just have to see which Le'Veon Bell comes out. Hopefully not the one that, runs for 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, and catches, 6 passes for 65. So we'll just have to see. But I definitely got to win there. The turnovers that I feel like the Browns defense is going to put a lot of pressure on Darnold, and I think our secondary is really, really going to do well that night with Greedy Williams and Denzel Ward. So I've got another win for the Browns there.
I agree.
So we've got Los Angeles Rams in Cleveland, September 22nd. For me, this was a loss. Sean McVay he's a special kind of coach. And I know the Rams lost some key guys this offseason, but they're still the Rams, and they've got a really good, high-powered offense. So I think that if by the third game we ended up being 2-1, I would be absolutely ecstatic. Obviously I would want to win, but I think the Rams are going to be their first true test. And
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff has been with these players, Brandon Cooks and Cooper Kupp, and I think that they've had time to kind of mesh their offense. So I think it could give us some trouble. And I don't think we'll get blown out by any means, but I think we'll definitely lose. So.
Yeah, and it's a Sunday night game. It's another primetime game, and not that I think that the Browns are going to be too small for the national spotlight or anything, but that's that may play into it a little bit. But I'm going to agree with you. There's one. I don't want to tip my hand too much here, Sam, but there's one game on the schedule that I just really feel like is a sure loss, and I think it's this Rams game.
Gotcha.
So I have a loss there.
Okay. Next, we've got on the 29th, we have the Browns in Baltimore. First division game coming in that fourth week of the season. What are your thoughts in going into Baltimore?
I have a win. I think Baltimore's just lost. I know they added some pieces on defense, but I think they lost a lot more than what they've added. And I think the Browns, with their newly fortified defense, are going to be able to stop the run. And I think that's pretty much what Baltimore is going to try to do on offense again, like they did, and at least in the latter part of the season last year. Right. So unless Baltimore can find a way to pass the ball and find some success against our secondary and get rid of the ball before our defense gets in there, I just don't see Baltimore beating the Browns this season.
I agree with that statement, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Week 5, we've got the Browns in San Francisco on October 7th. I believe this is another Sunday night game. So
it's actually a Monday night.
So excuse me, Monday night game. I've got them winning. I honestly can't tell you a lot about them. All I do know is that Jimmy Garoppolo will be coming back from being injured all last year. So I feel like they had, obviously they picked Bosa in the draft. I think that we definitely on paper and on the field will be a better overall team. I just feel like we are a better overall team than the 49ers. And I think we'll definitely take the win here. So,
yeah, and this is their third primetime game in 4 weeks.
Wow! And
I like that it's Monday coming off of a Sunday game, but it is West Coast, so they're going all the way out to San Fran. I have them down for a win in this game, but I really don't think this will be an easy game. I think the 49ers, especially Garoppolo, was really good when he was playing before he got hurt. So I could see this being a lot tougher game than probably what I estimated when I went through this schedule the first time. So it could be tough. I think the 49ers have done a lot with their team, even this offseason too. So, that could be a dangerous game, but I think the Browns will get a win there.
Okay. Next, we've got another home game on the 13th of October against the Seahawks. What's your take there?
Well, Seattle is coming off a Thursday night game the week before, and the Browns are coming off a Monday night game. So the Browns have a short week. Seattle's got a long week. There's just something about this game that scares me. And I know last season Seattle was 500 on the road. They're a better team at home, but there's just something about Russell Wilson. And I know Seattle is probably on the rebuild right now, but I just have a funny feeling that this is going to be a loss.
It's funny. I was listening to Matt Miller talk on Stick to Football, and he was talking about how, even though, it seems like year after year that you could consider that Seattle is in a rebuild year, they still are in playoff contention every year. It's crazy. Like Russell Wilson just brings that presence, brings that leadership to the game. And so, you say rebuild, and I would agree with you, but still, like, I definitely think it's going to be a tough game. I'm going to say that they win just because I think that our defense will be able to match up against, if we can really shut down Russell Wilson, running back wise, I don't really feel like it's a huge threat. Yeah, they've got Chris Carson, but he dealt with injury last year, Rashad Penny, and J.D. McKissick. C.J. Prosise is there as well. But then what I'm really looking for is for our secondary to shut down DK Metcalf, which I feel like is going to be fairly easy to do, being that he can only run about 3 routes. And other than that, looking at their roster, they've got Tyler Lockett, and other than that, like some David Moore, Jerron Brown, Malik Turner, Amara Dorba, like those are not guys that you really hear about. Nick Vannett from Ohio State, but like they don't really have a lot of true offensive weapons. You know what I mean? So I'm going to give us the win here because I feel like our defense is a lot better than their offense. If we can contain Russell, keep him inside the pocket, make him throw to these, receivers not with a lot of experience outside of Tyler Lockett, I definitely think that we have the advantage there.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think the Browns have the advantage team against team. I see the Browns coming off of these 3 out of 4 primetime games and a Monday night game on the West Coast, coming home on the short week where Seattle had 10 days to prepare, and that's kind of where my concern comes from. And I'm really giving Russell Wilson a lot of credit, so that's kind of where my concern is.
Which you should, because he's a damn good quarterback, and he can do a lot of great, amazing things. We've seen it done with with him with barely any better receivers that we just talked about. But obviously Doug Baldwin was there, and he could do some amazing things, and the chemistry that they had was really awesome. But hey, let's jump right into week 7. We've got the Browns and the Patriots.
Yeah, actually week 7's the bye, so you're looking at week 8 will be the Pats.
I'm looking at week 8. You're right.
That's okay.
Rod's on it tonight, guys. I'm a little
I wrote the schedule down. That's all.
I'm looking at the schedule too. It's not talking about buys, but all right. Anyway, I guess that would make sense since we jumped from the 13th of October to the 27th. So yes, Rod is correct on that bye week. But yes, let's talk about that and the Patriots.
Yeah, so I'll probably get a lot of flack for this, but coming off a loss to Seattle, the Browns have a bye. They've got almost 2 weeks to prepare for the Pats. The Pats play on a Monday night that week. I think the Browns go into Foxborough, and I think they get a win.
Wow.
I just think it's the right circumstances.
Okay.
For the Browns to maybe steal a win.
Okay. I'm going to disagree just because they're the Patriots, and I know I probably will get some shit for that, but again, they are the Patriots. Yes, they are Gronkless, but they've still got a lot of offensive weapons. Julian Edelman is impossible to stop in the slot. Tom Brady is, going to go down as one of the best quarterbacks of all time. It's just hard for me to see that. Obviously, there's always that Bill Belichick drama with, bringing up about the, being a part of the Browns organization in the past. It always gets brought up, whether you want to hear it or not. But I'm going to give them a loss there just because they are the Patriots. So
I think most everybody would. To me, I just see the way the schedule works for both teams, and it just kind of, to me, I think it works to the Browns' advantage, to where if they were going to possibly beat the Pats in the regular season, it's not only the fact that the Browns have 2 weeks and the Pats have 3-4 days, for this, or 6, whatever it is, 6 days for this game. It's also you're facing them in the first half of the season, and the Patriots, granted it's the 7th game for the Browns, but the Patriots usually, this game might be a little easier if they were playing in week 3.
Right.
I'd probably prefer that, but the Patriots are usually rolling like crazy by the second half of the season. So maybe the Browns will get a little lucky and the Patriots won't be on fire by then too.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. The scenario seems about perfect, so we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah.
So our 8th game comes first week of November, the 3rd, against Denver at Denver. I'm going to say playing in Denver is just different. I've heard a lot of players talk about it. The altitude definitely affects their breathing and the oxygen, and then the ball thrown in the air. I'm going to put them down honestly for another loss. I feel like Joe Flacco kind of comes out and being a part of the AFC North before with a new team, he's got something to prove. Definitely trying to prove that Baltimore was wrong, and going with Lamar Jackson. And then Broncos got a lot of good weapons, and their defense is really good. Bradley Chubb, I think, is going to have an outstanding year this year. So I'm going to go ahead and give the win to the Broncos, and that would give them two back-to-back losses.
Yeah, I actually have the Browns losing this game too. I don't see the Browns winning every single game. Okay, right. It's just not realistic. So there's going to be some losses, and I think this game, especially if they go into Foxborough and get a win, I could see not so much a letdown, but I mean, going from New England and then you got to go out to Denver. It's a lot. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a challenging week for them, and I think it's going to be a tough game. And I'm looking back to last season too. The big wins the Browns had in Denver and against the New York Jets. I think these teams are going to be ready for them this year. Not that they're going to beat them, but they're going to be looking back a little bit to last season too.
All right. Next, we've got on the 10th of November, we've got the Bills at home. You and I both love our Bills fans on Twitter. I love Bills fans because they're relatable. I just love Bills fans. I've never had a bad interaction with a Bills fan ever. So I think this will actually be a really close game. I think this game will come down to a field goal, and I think that we get the win. But I think that we're going to see a very improved Josh Allen. And, he's got some new weapons in John Brown and Cole Beasley. Zay Jones had a great year last year. And I really think, who's really turning a lot of heads in Buffalo is Devin Singletary, that running back. And I think that he will do really well. He's still paired up with LaShawn McCoy and Frank Gore. TJ Yeldon's actually there as well. But I think this will be a fairly close game, but I think that we come out with the win.
Yeah, the Bills drafted well this year too. So yeah, I think they're on the upswing. I think this is, especially when you're getting toward you're actually at that point. That's game number 9 for the Browns. So they're starting the second half of the schedule, right. And it's where they're really going to feel like they have to make a playoff push, because I think we're both figuring they're going to have 3, maybe 4 losses at that point.
Right.
So I think you're going to see a Browns team that's really going to be focused, and I think they're going to get a win here.
Yeah, they had an excellent draft. In that their first 2 picks were Cody Ford, that right tackle, and then Ed Oliver, who was an absolute monster. In my mock draft, was in the top 3 picks. So yeah, definitely had a good draft. So I think it'll be a good game. So.
Yeah, I think so.
We've got another division game, the 14th November, against the Steelers at home. I have us beating the Steelers just because, look at all they lost. You lose Antonio Brown, you lose Le'Veon Bell, Juju Smith-Schuster is still their guy, and then, why can't I think of their running back's name right now? He's got the funny.
Oh, James Conner.
James Conner. There we go.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're the same Steelers. I think they're still going to be good, but I think they're definitely on the down spiral. So I think that it's a win, and of course I hate the Steelers, so the shit I would get for giving the Steelers a win over us would be awful. But no, realistically and quite honestly, I feel like we definitely take the win. I don't think we lose to the Steelers all year. So.
Well, that's a Thursday night game, another primetime game.
It'll be a good game too.
Yeah, so the Browns are coming off that game against the Bills at 1:00. The Steelers host the Rams that week at 4:00. So the Steelers may be hurting coming into that game. We'll see.
Okay.
But I have the Browns getting a win on Thursday night at home.
Next, near Thanksgiving time, we've got the Dolphins coming to Cleveland on the 24th on Sunday. What are your thoughts about new quarterback Josh Rosen and the Dolphins? First of all, do you think it's going to be Fitzmagic or do you think it's going to be Josh Rosen?
I would think by week 12 you're talking Josh Rosen.
Yeah, I would think so.
I would be surprised if it's not. So you're giving the Browns 10 days to prepare for the Dolphins at home, a team who is rebuilding, who may be almost tanking. So to me, if there's one game you could circle on the calendar, on the schedule that would be quote unquote a sure win, I might take that one.
Okay. All right. Well, we both agree there. I have nothing else to say about that. All that I have to say and agree with you is tanking. It is very publicly known that Miami Dolphins will be tanking this year. So that should be enough. Next game we have on December 1st against the Steelers, and it will be at Pittsburgh. And like I said before, I don't see the Steelers beating the Browns at all this year, so I'm going to go with a win. Rod, what is your take there?
Well, I hate to do this, but I gave the Browns a loss there just because.
Of course you did.
Well, I don't have the Browns losing any other games in the division. I have them sweeping the Ravens. I'm jumping ahead here, but obviously I've got them sweeping the division other than the Steelers. So I just see them losing one game somewhere in the second half, and I think that's potential. That could be the game. If there's one game that's going to give them a problem in the whole second half of the schedule, that's probably the game.
Next, that brings us to December 8th, back in Cleveland against Cincinnati. For me, I don't even feel like Andy Dalton will be playing at this time. I feel like he would have got hurt by now. So that leaves you at starting quarterback either Ryan Finley, their draft pick this year, or Jeff Driscoll. I know he played a little bit last year. They still got AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, and Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon, yeah.
Joe Mixon, right? He's a easily a top 10 running back, but I don't see us losing to Cincinnati at all. So I've got a win there for sure.
I would be shocked if they lose either game to the Bengals this year.
Yeah. All right, that brings up the Browns against the Heisman winner, number 1 overall draft pick, and Kyler Murray in Arizona on December 15th. I don't really know what to say. Kyler Murray, he's unbelievable. He's being brought into the same system that he had that he had left in college. I think that rookie mistakes are going to get the best of him, especially going against a really, really good defense. And by that time, we're talking we've got 3 games left in the regular season. Our defense is going to be meshed up. Greedy Williams is going to have experience, a heck of a lot of experience. And, barring any injuries in our secondary or on our front or in just defenses as a whole, I don't think that Kyler Murray is going to know what to do. I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure coming from Myles Garrett and Olivier. So I've got a win for us.
This is the Steve Wilkes game, and I think the Browns are going to put a little whipping on the cards for him.
There you go.
So, yeah, I think the Browns get an easy win here.
Okay. Next, we've got a game. We've got 2 more divisional games. One against Baltimore, and then the next against Cincinnati. Rod and I both kind of talked, jumping ahead. We don't see us getting beat by Cincinnati. The last game of the year on the regular season is the 29th of December. That's in Cincinnati. Again, Rod, that's probably a game that we need to look to go to as well.
Yeah.
By the way.
Hopefully it's not 15 below on December 29th.
I hope it is, man. I want to experience. I want to experience one of those really, really cold Lambo type kind of games.
You're crazy.
Where like where all people can see on the TV is like just our eyes barely through our hoods. You know what I'm saying? Covered in snow.
Yeah. Sounds great. Sounds great now when it's 100 degrees outside.
Correct. Yeah. That's when I need to be drinking coffee, not right now when I'm under heat advisory.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the 22nd, the second to last game of the season, it's in Cleveland. It's against Baltimore. I have us losing there. I just feel like Baltimore always has a way to kind of figure it out. Their defense will, always hold them. They always hold their own they win games with their defense. I think they're going to have a good defense this year, even in the loss of C.J. Mosley and some other guys, Terrell Suggs. But I just feel like we're not going to get beat by the Steelers. We're not going to get beat by Cincinnati. But if I had to give one divisional loss, I would give it to the Ravens just one time, and it won't be because of Lamar Jackson. Let's make that clear. It will be because of the Ravens defense. So.
I don't think Lamar Jackson will be playing in Week 16 this year. I think he got lucky last year not getting killed. So, not that I wish injury on anybody, but if he tries to run the ball as much as he did last year, it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to get hurt.
Gotcha. So,
and I couldn't even tell you who their backup quarterback is. I don't know if RG3 is still there or if they have somebody else.
No, RG3 is definitely still there. Here, I'm pulling up the roster now.
Well, if he's still there, he might be hurt by then too.
Trace McSorley, the quarterback out of Penn State.
Penn State? Okay.
Yeah.
He's a runner too, isn't he?
He is definitely a runner, yes.
Well, he would fit into their game plan. So,
yep.
I don't see a loss to Baltimore there, Sam. I just don't. But I guess it depends where the division is, where the playoffs are, and everything else. So we'll see what happens. My feeling is that Pittsburgh has a way of rebounding, and I think that if I had to pick, I think Pittsburgh finishes ahead of Baltimore this year.
Huh.
That's my feeling.
I think it'll be close.
Yeah, I think it will be too.
I think it'll be close. But let's see. So another guy that I'm going to bring up in addition to Baltimore, absolute speedster, Oklahoma guy, Marquise Philly Brown, or Hollywood Brown. I'm sorry, Hollywood Brown, not Philly Brown. He's at Ohio State. I watched some film on him today, and just his speed and the separation that he can get is just unbelievable. And then when he catches the ball, he's an absolute nightmare to try to track down in open field. So
okay, but who's going to throw him the ball?
Well, he's used to getting these short 12-yard passes. So Lamar Jackson, or in that case, Robert Griffin. So there you go. But anyway, Willie Snead would be another guy. Chris Moore, and Michael Floyd. Long-time Arizona Cardinal, but other than that, I think we're okay. They do have a running back. They've got Mark Ingram. That was somebody that they had this year. They picked up out of free agency.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, I do agree with you. I see the Browns losing one game in the division at some point. So if I had to, I guess we haven't totaled our win-loss records yet.
I have totaled mine.
Okay, so you're at what?
12-4.
You're at 12-4. Okay.
12-4.
I'm at 12-4.
I'm at 12-4 with losses to the Rams, the Broncos, the Patriots, and then the Ravens.
Yeah, and I have the Rams, the Seahawks, the Broncos, and the Steelers. But to me, it comes down to their likely losses to the Rams, and then a loss to the Steelers or Ravens, and then you're probably going to have two losses between Seattle, the Patriots, and Denver. That's kind of how I looked at it.
Yeah. If I had to do it again, and if I really, really dove in and had done more research and was probably, I don't want to say more realistic because I honestly think that's what it's going to be. But if I had to be a little bit more humble, instead of being a Browns fan, I would take it to 10-6 with additional losses coming from the Bills game. Like I said, I think that's going to be a close game. And then I would give another win to, God, I hate to say it, but I would give it to the Steelers. So,
yeah, see, I just have a hard time.
I was being more realistic. No, I don't want to say that. Not more real. If I was being a more humble Browns fan.
Yeah, for me, when I'm looking back at last season, when we had Hugh Jackson coaching for half the season, and this team, which has been improved on dramatically since then,
Right.
won 7 games, and darn near could have won 9 or 10 with what they had last year with Hugh Jackson in there for half the season. So now we've got Freddie Kitchens, all these improvements. I just don't see how we can pick this team to win less than 11 games.
So do you want to agree on 11?
Well, I mean, I've told I've been on several podcasts and places and said 12-4, so I'm sticking with 12-4. But obviously, 11-5 is not going to upset me. I'll be very happy with 11-5. But 12-4 is what I'm going to stick with because it's what I've said.
I'm going to say 11-5, and I'm going to add that additional loss from the Bills.
Okay.
11-5. So let's see who's right at the end of the season. I guess we could maybe do. No, you want this to be our only season breakdown, or do you want to do another one after the 53-man roster?
I think we'll probably do another one after the 53-man, but
yeah,
because right now we really don't know a whole heck of a lot. We don't know much about the other teams right now.
Well, our preseason season, Rod's going at 12-4, and I'm going at 11-5. Either way, I think we make the playoffs, so that's all that matters.
That's right.
And we definitely win. We win the North. I would say Browns, Ravens, Steelers, Bengals.
Brown. Yeah,
I know yours would be Browns, Steelers, Ravens, Bengals.
Yeah, I've had, I'm a little swayed by an exchange I had with a Ravens fan on Twitter.
Okay.
And I'm really, I would really like to interact with a Ravens fan who is logical and can actually talk to me on Twitter without going right into a fight.
There you go.
Because I can do that with Bengals fans and even Steelers fans. Okay, I do that with a lot of Steelers fans, and it's not a problem. I don't know why there aren't Ravens fans like that. So that's the invitation.
Well, guys, you heard it first. Any logical Ravens fans want to have a decent conversation with Rod, find him on Twitter at CleeRodB. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. We're glad to be back on our podcast game. I don't see an excuse for us not to do a podcast unless one of us has unless barring injury, where you should hear from us every week until we're in the playoffs again in the AFC Championship against the Chiefs. So
that's right.
Anyway, all right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. As always, follow the Browns Blitz on Twitter. You can find our accounts linked in there as well. Hope everybody has a good rest of the week, and we'll talk to you later. Go Browns.